Chapter 4. How the cycle of Paticcasamuppada starts revolving from Vedana. Reference to the diagram is invited in section 2. There will be seen Vijnana, Namarupa, Salayantana, Pasa and Vedana. Whenever there is a combination of sense door, object and consciousness, there arises Pasa, which gives rise to Vedana, whether pleasant, unpleasant or indifferent. To illustrate this, one sees a very beautiful flower, and if one is pleased with it, one feels a pleasant sensation, Vedana. If there arises in one the desire or craving, tanha, for it, there inevitably follows upadana, clinging or grasping. This is where the chain of Paticcasamuppada starts revolving. It is to be noted that the Paticcasamuppada does not stop then and there. When upadana is followed by kamabhava, there inevitably will follow jati, rebirth. Reference to section 3 and 4 of the diagram will show the connecting link between kamabhava and jati. This connection means the process of the line of the action of the Paticcasamuppada. The Buddha said, "Where there is tanha after Vedana, I will never say that Magga, Phala or Nibbana can be realized." So also where dosa or domanasa follows after Vedana, Magga, Phala or Nibbana can never be realized. When it is said that the ceaseless process of Paticcasamuppada continues it means to imply that it is our own khandha which, under the ceaseless process of the cyclic chain of samsara. Here khandha does not mean this body which weighs 10 to 150 pounds, but that is what it means in conventional parlance. What khandha means when an object aramana enters a sense door, dvara, vijnanam arises, vijnanam, or in other words, vijnana khandha. When there is pasa, Vedana arises, which is Vedana khandha. Whenever there is pasa, the arises sanya, which is called sanya khandha. Volitional activities, cetana, are called sankhara khandha, and matter, rupa, is called rupa khandha. The arising of whatever khandha, whether rupa khandha, vedana khandha, sanya khandha, sankhara khandha or vijnana khandha, is the chain or the process of khandha, which in other words is none other than the Paticcasamuppada, which is actual fact is not to be found in Tipitaka books, Palikanons, or in the mere recitation, but in our own khandha. When there is no continuation of the Paticcasamuppada or line of actions of khandhas, there is nothing but the whole mass of sorrow and suffering. Eva metasa kevalasa dukkha khandasa samudayo hoti. In the Vagga Samyutta it is said, if one leads the life of Paticcasamuppada, he is called Miccha Patipada, one who leads wrong life. He who meditates and practices vipassana is called Samapatipada, one who leads a righteous life. It may therefore be asserted that he who practices Magga, Brahmacharya, or Vipassana is trying to disconnect or to cut the relinking of karmic force or khandha. Or in other words, he is trying to discontinue Paticcasamuppada. Here reference to the diagram is invited. Practice of Vipassana is the work of cutting the link between section 3 and section 4, or in other words, killing tanha in order to disallow karmic force to arise. It can be said that Vipassana meditation is work which tries to change Vedana Pachaya tanha into Vedana Pachaya Panya. It is the work which tries to replace tanha by Vipassana Magga. Vipassana Magga means Samaditi, Sama Sankappa, Sama Sati, Sama Samadhi after Vedana. Unless there is Vipassana Magga meditation, it is preemptory that tanha will inevitably follow. Nothing else can stop the arising of tanha. If one follows the way of Paticcasamuppada, one will be faced with samudaya and dukkha. His companion will be samudaya and dukkha. He is just like a stump in samsara and will ever remain as a stump even when Buddhas appear in the universe. It is time for the reader to decide to choose which way, i.e. Maggapala, or the way to remain as a stump of samsara. Should he be willing to free himself from the whirlpool of samsara, he must follow the way of Magga, or in other words, he should practice Vipassana, and must try to perceive with insight knowledge the arising and passing away of Vedana by employing 5 Maggagas Pupa Bhaga Magga. It must be pointed out here that Vedana is not to be searched here and there, as one generally thinks. No, it is not to be sought after. Vedana arises whenever there is an impact of pasa. On the other hand, one or the other kind of Vedana is always prevalent in us, pleasant or painful, agreeable or disagreeable, different or indifferent. Hence it is not necessary to purposely search for Vedana, as it is prevalent all the time in one of the 6 sense doors. Vedana shows and reveals to us its presence by arising and vanishing before us. It is for the yogi to have the insight that Vedana is anicca, or arising or passing away. If the yogi can apprehend Vedana properly, it can be said that he is out of the boundary of nicca sanya, permanent wrong view. He is on the right path when anicca of Vedana is apprehended by insight Vipassana. Vedana Nirodha Tanha means when Vedana is exterminated, so is Tanha. Tanha Nirada Nibbana, i.e. means extermination of Tanha, means Nibbana. Vedanam Kaya Bhikko Nichato Parinibhutto means when Vedana is perceived as most abominable, despicable, detestable, and repugnant as a result of intensive and repeated meditation. The desire, longing, or lust for any kind of Vedana comes to an end, or Vedana comes to the cessation, Vedanakaya. As such, the bhikkhus, monk, can attain kilesa parinibbana.